Straight up in that bitch. In that bitch.
مريض bro.
Welcome back with another banger. Hit that like, sub it up, don't react, bounce. Hit that like, sub it up, don't react, bounce. Y'all feel me? Let's run it.
Trees are literally exploding across parts of the Midwest right now, and no, this is not clickbait. It's an actual weather phenomenon that's happening right now. Okay, I know that obviously sounds fake, but this is completely real, and you've probably already seen it on the news because trees have been just randomly exploding. They're saying that whenever temperatures drop in an area fast enough, which by the way, we're talking about like negative 25 degrees, the sap inside of trees can freeze and expand so quickly that the trunk literally cracks open with a sound like a loud pop. This is actually called frost cracking, and meteorologists right now are warning that it could happen across Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, and parts of Iowa and Michigan this weekend. Obviously, everybody should know about the huge snow and ice storm that's coming right now, but they're saying that this polar vortex could push wind chills down to negative 40. There's a weather graphic that says exploding tree risk that went viral all over social media with 7 million views, and people are losing their minds. This entire thing is actually real right now. We have exploding trees before GTA 6. I'll obviously keep you updated if we end up getting any wild videos of this actually happening this weekend, so add me so you don't miss it.
Man, we get everything before GTA 6. Shout out to Nick Jackson. This is wild, so it's the sap inside of the tree. Wow.
I'm taking the stairs.
You know, a lot of us are going to die in August. August 12th, 2026, the world will lose gravity for 7 seconds.
Who said that?
NASA, they're preparing and they won't tell us why. Leaked online, the project's budget is $89 billion.
Shoot.
And its goal is to survive a 7-second gravitational anomaly expected August 12th, 2026. And expected casualties will be 40 to 60 million people.
What?
They go on 1 to 2 seconds. Everything not secured will rise. People, vehicles, animals. 3 to 4 seconds in, objects will continue to rise to 15 to 20 meters up. 5 to 6 seconds in, panic and chaos will ensue. People hit ceiling. 7 seconds, gravity returns and everything falls from the sky, and 40 to 60 million people are dead.
Imagine you're pooping and then it goes back up. Dude, what a cleanup. Still with me? Then smash like, subscribe, and hit the bell for the react files. Things only get deeper from here.
What exactly is this sonic wonder weapon the US used against Venezuela to capture Maduro? Well, a few years ago, they straight up showed us they can attack people with invisible waves using a special device called an active denial system, ADS, which shoots a beam of high-frequency microwaves towards a victim, causing them to stop dead in their tracks, vomit, or even feel like they're on fire. A news reporter tested it out for himself at low strength, and, well, it works. What people are claiming they're hiding from us is that these microwaves can affect our minds just as much as they do our bodies. Tune the frequencies just right and they can technically implant thoughts into your mind, which may have actually been the cause of the yet unexplained Havana syndrome in Cuba back in 2016, where dozens of diplomats, CIA officers, and military personnel described a sudden onset of auditory hallucinations, pressure inside of their heads, vertigo, dizziness, nausea, migraines, and doctors even found brain tissue damage similar to that of a concussion in the victims, which are all symptoms of these microwave weapons, and exactly what the Venezuelan troops experienced too. The Havana syndrome event remains a mystery, but it's speculated these invisible frequency weapons were being tested on unwilling victims in Cuba at that time. Actually, it's kind of more likely that these symptoms were caused by LRAD, the long-range acoustic device, a similar weapon already commonly used by police and special forces. These are no secret, an ultrasonic weapon that launches high-frequency sound waves, causing nausea, disorientation, vertigo, and pressure inside the skull of the victim. Sounds very familiar. This one can also rupture your eardrums and cause permanent hearing loss. And I can't help but remind you that this technology has been publicly showcased for over 15 years. Whatever they have now, just try to imagine this, but 100 times more advanced and powerful, like real laser weapons, tested just 2 years ago by Britain's Navy called Dragonfire, which can melt objects the size of a coin from over a kilometer kilometer away using a high-powered laser. You already know the US Navy had to one-up them by testing Helios, a 60 kilowatt directed energy laser weapon, fully confirmed and out in the open, which can also fry victims and burn holes through anything like a lightsaber with a 16 plus kilometer range. And then there's China, and well, let's just not talk about China. In fact, China isn't even talking about China, and I don't think we're ready for what they're cooking. Like this giant supersonic laser death cannon rumored to have been developed by them. This video in particular was allegedly debunked to be AI, but I honestly would not be surprised, because talks of high-powered microwave and directed energy weapons, DEWs, have been out in the open for decades. The Pentagon straight up admitted they were working on weapons of this nature back in 2001, where the US Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld publicly stated directed energy weapons are in the early stages of development, and he looked hella uncomfortable talking about it. 25 years ago, by the way. The Department of Defense even had an entire task force dedicated to DEWs back in 2007, and the entire report is available online, which talks about, among many other things, using radio frequencies to simulate debilitating fevers in humans. And if held for too long, it can cook the brain, causing permanent damage and loss of life. A literal fever laser. Even recently, National Defense authorized cognitive electromagnetic warfare as a line item in their budget for fiscal year 2026 at $44 million. What in the hell is cognitive electromagnetic warfare? Are they really using these beam weapons to manipulate our own thoughts? Historically, the technology that government militaries disclose to the public are really what they already had over 10 years ago, and we can bet that's still the case today. Because we have high-ranking military officials like US Navy engineer Salvatore Pace, the man who owns several patents on the most insane government technology ever, like a portable fusion device, gravitational wave generators, and well, zero-point energy UFOs. This man explicitly warned US adversaries years ago about the technology they would use to fight against them, telling them, quote, "It'll be quick, it'll be very dirty, and you'll never do it again." His words. And everything we've seen are just the infant stages of the type of technology they're using, and they definitely used in their raid to capture Maduro. In Fortnite terms, they're showing us PlayStation 1 features when they're already on the PS9. The Venezuelan military security told the world what really happened behind the scenes, and we can't even imagine what they actually have. Some even citing they are using reverse-engineered alien technology from UFO crashes like Roswell and more recent ones like the Boogosphere. The things these super weapons can do is downright disturbing. And now, especially with AI, this technology is just going to improve parabolically until they can capture entire countries without barely lifting a finger.
Right, what is this supersonic weapon? That was a great breakdown right there. Shout outs to Phil's Pixel. Between it being talked about 15 years ago and that report that is accessible online, it makes you wonder, what are they using now?
Cold. Listen.
What was that?
I don't think it's any coincidence that just before this historic ice storm is about to hit the United States Air Force has been flying some super strange flight patterns. This is not normal. This is not normal. This is not normal. These planes are the KC-135 Stratotanker, a military aircraft that's primarily used for aerial refueling. But it can also be used for geoengineering, also known as weather modification. The Stratotanker can do stratospheric aerial injection, which involves releasing reflective particles into the atmosphere to cool the planet. This is no coincidence that this is all happening just before this giant ice storm is about to hit the entire United States.
This is all the produce, the chemtrail produce of USAF Stratotankers flying in circles in patterns.
Yeah, them flight logs look very suspicious. Shout out to Symbolism Syndrome for help pointing that out on top of this crazy storm.
Oh my god. What was that? That was the truth. It literally cracked.
The ICE riot saga continues, and it looks like we all fell right into the trap. Now, this just happened where this protester gets unalived by the ICE agents, making him the second victim during this whole fiasco. And like I said in my last video, somebody is inducing all this with everybody in between being pawns with somebody pulling the strings from the top. I mean, let's just think about this for a minute. Why would this masked guy burn a flag, getting everybody riled up, and then just run off?
Run off? Why would you run off? That's weird, to burn a flag and run off. That doesn't make sense. That's not a protest.
Why are you not back there at the protest? We got everybody.
You guys, let me explain this explicitly. There's no more such thing as left and right. That's why they call it a left wing and a right wing, because it's on the same bird. It's the illusion of choice. Now, if this is true, then what new party has already taken over? Enter Technocracy, which is a party established back in the 1930s during the Great Depression. Now, the Technocrats was a party made up of scientists, engineers, technologists who wanted to take over the government and the entire Western Hemisphere, including Greenland, Canada, Mexico, Venezuela. Sound familiar? Now, this guy you probably never heard of, Joshua Haldeman, was a massive leader in the movement. He was a farmer, a politician, an aviator, and also the grandfather of Elon Musk. Wouldn't it be wild if Elon carried on this technocracy movement by doing a $200 million deal for his AI to be integrated into the Pentagon? It would be even more wild that these big tech executives from OpenAI, Meta, Palantir all now have military rankings as lieutenant colonels in the US Army. It's called Attachment 201, a new initiative designed to fuse cutting-edge tech expertise with military innovation. Now, after Joshua left the technocracy movement, he went to another party called the Social Credit Party. Sounds very reassuring. Now, this movement believed that everybody should be on UBI, Universal Basic Income. Now, why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, that's because Elon presented universal high income, where the government becomes your daddy and there's no more poverty because his AI is doing everything and you own nothing and be happy. Got it. So left, right, black, white, gay, straight, doesn't really matter because big tech has taken over, because why else would deploy the National Guard be trending? That's one step away from martial law. Make sure you guys hit up my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, and let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
Yeah, we were just talking about Elon and his grandfather in our last video. Shout out to Mav Approach. And I agree with Mav on this one. Who is that person who's burning the flag working for?
Breaking news, journalist James O'Keefe says that he's being actively hunted and is currently seeking safety.
You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead.
O'Keefe, who just days ago infiltrated the WEF in Switzerland, exposing covert atmospheric discussions.
So we don't like to call them chem. We don't like to use this. So what do you call it instead? Well, we call it aerosol injection.
Laser light bombs, dark bombs.
Says that while reporting on anti-ICE unrest in Minneapolis following an ICE-involved shooting, a mob of hundreds surrounded his team.
Started throwing ice bottles at us, hit our vehicle. They were starting to rip off my bulletproof vest.
He says they were chased and tailed throughout the city, and minutes into this escape, his team received a death threat from an unknown number, stating, "You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead," and accurately naming their vehicle, license plate, and location. O'Keefe says he still has undercover journalists on the ground in Minneapolis, along with hidden camera footage documenting the events. Federal authorities have been contacted and a full report is coming. Stay tuned.
What is really going on? Shout out to Ariana Masters for breaking this news right here. He had his license plate. He got undercover journalists on the ground. Who is this mob or organization that sent him this text? Sounds like underground warfare.
angle is actually even more important than the lady in the pink, because first things first, you can see that the guy in the gray jacket, one, disarms him before the shots are let out. Now, two, and most importantly, I want you to look at Alex's hands this entire time, because they say, oh, he's trying to assault the officers. Oh, he was resisting. The entire time from this angle, you can see his hands, and the gun is in his back holster here. Now, right hand there, left hand here. And this entire time, not once does he look like he is reaching back to grab this pistol that he legally has the license to carry. At this point in time, they throw one of the magazines out. Still, hand here, guarding his head with his right hand. Left hand, not even possible to get around to the other side to grab the gun. Now, this gray cop right here, he's so untrained and so unprofessional, when he disarms him, he doesn't say anything and runs away, which then they let out 12 fucking shots. So, the fact that you're using the argument of they were scared for their life is one of the pussiest arguments I've ever heard. It's 7 on fucking 1. Now, again, empty hand. So I don't want to hear no argument about, well, maybe he already had a gun and that was his gun. No. He reaches over and disarms Alex. And as you can see, no left arm to reach back. You just saw his right arm. So at what point in time is he a threat to their lives? Guess what? He never is. And your government is fucking lying to you, because then he takes the gun away and doesn't say anything because he's a fucking idiot. 12 shots and you watch someone get in cold blood. But you're going to sit there and argue with me. Lie out loud.
Individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
Bootlickers have now moved the goalposts of, why would you bring a gun to a protest? Well, here's your boy Charlie, your guy's favorite. The Second Amendment is not for hunting, it's for self-protection. It's there to ensure that free people can defend themselves if, God forbid, government becomes tyrannical and turned against its citizens.
Yo, this is wild. Shout outs to Lawrence Johnson. Right now, I'm just really looking at all the possible footage of this tragedy. One thing I do point out is that whoever grabbed that gun without communicating to the other officers that the subject was disarmed is very questionable.
An ICU nurse who worked at the VA, who was legally carrying a firearm that was fucking holstered while he was filming, who is now being painted as a domestic terrorist because he took a gun to a protest. But all these 2A motherfuckers a couple years back were screaming Kyle Rittenhouse's name from the goddamn rooftops. Oh, that was different. Yeah, you're right. He had a fucking rifle strapped to his chest. The man who was shot was concealed carrying a firearm that he was legally allowed to fucking have. I am now seeing reports that it's even possible that they disarmed him by taking his weapon out of his holster that was at his 6 o'clock, and then they mag dumped the fucking guy. So if you were legally carrying a firearm and they take that off of your person and then utilize that as a justification to put rounds in your fucking back while you were laying face down on the pavement, then it was never about following the law. The Second Amendment doesn't matter anymore, and you're fucked. So where's all the don't tread on me, two-way, gun-toting, boot-licking fucktards? Or is it just when it's not on your fucking side?
Shout out to Scotty K Fitness. I think we all could feel his anger and the passion that he's speaking from. What happened was very sad. There's no question of that.
I just reviewed the footage of the killing of Alex Preddy, and I'm going to show you the video, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. In this video, I want you to watch this guy right here, the guy in the gray, grabs Alex's gun out of his waistband right here. Did you see it? Did you see it? I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to zoom in. Right there. Let's slow it down. Right here. That officer grabbed Alex Preddy's legal firearm, which I carry around a fucking firearm all the time. Grabbed it out of his waistband and he accidentally discharged his firearm. And that freaked everybody else out, and this administration posts this shit on X, saying that Alex approached him with a 9mm handgun and he violently resisted and he wanted to inflict maximum damage on these officers. They fucked up that kid. There are going to be charges. Kristi Noem and every single ICE officer is going to prison come the fucking midterms. And I am not gonna, and every single fucking person watching this is not gonna rest. You an American citizen, and then you post it on your propaganda machine trying to make it seem like he was a fucking violent individual. That is what authoritarian nations do.
Gun owners are mad, you know? And thinking of it, you can see why. You know, something like this could paint a bad picture. I definitely feel his anger and where he's coming from. Shout out to CFH Unfiltered.
We've gotten word that the National Guard is staging and setting up a perimeter around 26th and Nicollet, where Alex Preddy was by ICE earlier today. It is a massive perimeter to make sure that we do not return back in here. It goes from 35th Street all the way to Franklin, 28th Avenue all the way to Carmel Mall, which is basically Pillsbury. If you're not from here, that's fucking massive. They're possibly stationing the same way they did during George Floyd in 2020 with Hummers and checking people's ID. My hand is literally freezing right now. It's negative 20 out. Stay vigilant. Oh yeah, also, they're shutting down Highway 35 and 94 pending. It's possible. It hasn't been confirmed all the way yet. The revolution is here.
This is what they're hitting us with.
Where's it made?
I think it's actually hot in my, is it hot in my hand? It's hot in my hand right now, it's hot. Through a fucking leather glove, it's hot.
That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the deep dive. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Shout outs to all the reactors. Thanks again. Till next time.